My name is Sam Bice, project manager here at Kurt Maritime. Here to talk about the Huntington Harbor maintenance dredging and waterline installation project recently completed. So the 4 phases of the project included the restoration effort for fish and wildlife, the beach nourishment effort for the County of Orange, and a waterline installation for the City of Huntington, as well as the remainder of the project, mechanical dredging for harbor maintenance. The Seal Beach National Wildlife Refuge project consisted primarily of enhancing the habitat for the light-footed ridgeway rail. In addition, multiple other endangered species that inhabited the refuge were provided a habitat that would not be washed away by the current high tides. To achieve this, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, along with Moffett and Nickel, came up with a solution to pump sediments hydraulically from suitable materials found in the harbor onto the refuge to achieve approximately a 1-foot lift. This raised their habitats and their nesting platforms above high tide levels to enhance the populations of the native species. Overall, we covered approximately 430,000 square feet of refuge with approximately 24,000 cubic yards, achieving about a 1-foot lift across multiple contours and ponds on the island. One of the first challenges that we encountered was how to create a sediment barrier system around the island to capture a large quantity of material over an even larger space without using heavy equipment or materials that would damage the environment when they were left behind. To do this, we sourced out hay bales, we used decomposable geotextile fabrics, as well as silk curtains and berms that we created with the material we were replacing as we progressed through the refuge. Ultimately, all the materials we left behind were decomposable to the environment and met the goals of Fish and Wildlife. The greatest challenge of achieving this 10-inch lift across the island was the nozzles that delivered the sediments. To do this, our team designed and fabricated several prototype nozzles that were able to disperse the sediments in a thin layer, low-impact fashion.
My name's John Kokoski. I was a foreman on the wetland restoration project. Environmental regulations really limited us on the type of tools we could use. We didn't really have any power tools. We had no heavy machinery. Everything was pretty much hand, manual labor. It was a super labor-intensive job. Spent a lot of time on the island moving pipe around full of mud by hand, which definitely was no easy task. We were trying to contain 3,000 gallons of water every minute with hay bales.
Steve Chu, Kurt Maritime, General Manager. Another facet of the project was a subsea water line that we installed for the city of Huntington Beach. The pipeline itself was 16-inch HDPE, 2 tie-in points, one at Sunset Beach, one on Trinidad Island in East Huntington Harbor. The main focus of the project was to provide redundancy to the city's water supply system, both for fire protection and drinking water. The excavation for the trench across the channel is relatively straightforward. We achieved this with the DB Ben Weston derrick barge. The more difficult part was the encasements, concrete encasements that were required. All encasements that were poured on the project were done below the water line, or substantial portions of them below the water line, tide dependent. The engineering of the formwork and the way to get this concrete poured per the specification and handle it under the water was one of the bigger challenges. We used a variety of methods to achieve this. One was feeding the smaller waterline pipe into a much larger corrugated metal pipe, using that as a sleeve to pour the concrete inside, modifying sonotube and various other methods for the subsea concrete pours, which we did end up getting done, but it was a difficult part of the project.
My name's Brad. I'm the lead crane operator at Kurt Maritime. and we're talking about the sunset dredging job. There was a variety of different types of dredging material in that channel. The instance channel required us to dig with a 6-yard bucket that was in an 8-part. It was very hard. We dug it about 6 inches at a time. The rest of the job was pretty straightforward, pretty easy digging material. We ran a 12-yard bucket the rest of the time. Then we ran our 10-yard heavy bucket when we were digging the slips out, because it was we had 10-foot slips and an 8-foot wide bucket, so it was pretty tricky to get in there.
So the job was really a collaboration of everybody involved, you know, from the field to the office. It was a lot of trial and error, and at the end of the day we'd all come together and kind of figure out what worked best and how we were going to get the job done the most efficiently, and that's what we did, and I think we did a really good job at it.
Huntington Beach was a very interesting job because of the complexity and the diversity of what the crews had to perform there on a daily basis. A lot of what we do in the past has been, you know, just straight mechanical dredging, and when we deal with the salt marsh restoration portion of this job, or digging in the marinas, replacing the water line, these jobs, they're complex, they've got a lot of moving pieces, and they need a lot of innovation in order for them to be successfully completed. And our crews have done a phenomenal job at that. You know, we're very lucky in the sense that we've got people that embrace those challenges, and they don't look at them as a negative, but as an opportunity to really excel.